Hey, what's happening, gamers? Welcome back to a very special Batman Arkham Wednesday, the eve before I turn 33. That's right, tomorrow's my birthday, and as a present, I'm going to be talking all about Batman vs. Superman, that Batman's history, and all the stuff that you probably want to know. So this is the new Batman that the world is very eager to meet, and from what I've learned about the character, I like him already. So how I came across this info, I will not be disclosing that. I did not sign an agreement with WB Pictures, WB Games, none of it. Think of this as an exclusive, and I hope to keep it that way. Based on how small my channel is, no one will probably see this anyway. So some of this stuff may not be correct, but my source is still pretty solid and just as obsessed with The Dark Knight as I am. So when new info comes out, we like to pick it up and kind of hoard it and then spoil everything. So this video will contain spoilers about Batman from the new Batman v Superman film, so just please keep that in mind. We will be talking about Batman's history, Robin, gadgets, the Batcave, the Batmobile, why Wayne Manor is an empty husk, the utility belt, the Bat Power Suit, and Gotham itself. So let's dive in, shall we? So as you know, 2 years have passed since the battle between Zod and Superman. Clark Kent plans on investigating Metropolis' sister city, Gotham, which in this universe, ladies and gentlemen, is 10 to 20 miles away, which really bothers me. This would make Metropolis most likely New York City, and Gotham somewhere in New Jersey, where Gotham is located, by the way, in, the Newark, New Jersey area, but Metropolis is usually Chicago. Anyway, Clark is obsessed with stopping Batman because he sees him as this crazy madman who's plagued the citizens of Gotham for more than 20 years. Superman plans on putting an end to this vigilante whack job. And of course, getting some good press for all the bad stuff that people see him as at the moment. Now, no one really knows why Batman has chosen to protect Gotham City. The people of the city are 50-50 on his activities. Many citizens believe that Batman is an urban myth in order to keep lowlives in order. Others, however, believe the Batman is not a myth and leaves victims marked with his Bat brand as a symbol and a reminder to behave or the Batman will get you. So, he's kind of an urban myth, but not really. For the most part, Batman's origin remains the same as in the comics and other movies that we've seen. His parents were gunned down after seeing a Zorro movie in Park Row, which is now known as Crime Alley, and after his family's funeral, which is different, Bruce actually dismissed all his staff except for a Mr. Pennyworth, who was hired recently to act as a security officer for Wayne Industries. Though in reality, Pennyworth is actually a former British intelligence officer who is back from the war and was a friend of Thomas Wayne. So both Bruce and Alfred then leave Wayne Manor, and for decades it just sits and rots away, acting kind of like as a tomb for the past and a flame to relight Batman's war on crime. So this Batman doesn't really go to Crime Alley often with the roses. He tends to revisit the empty Wayne Manor, which is kind of like, the symbol for what happened to his family. And the fact that it's all run down and things like that, that furthers his cause for, his crusade. Now, during his early days, Bruce lived in Gotham and worked both in the darkness and the light, which I'm still trying to understand how this works. So Bruce Wayne is more or less a public celebrity and figure in Gotham and does a lot of good for the city, like his father did as a doctor. He acts as a beacon of hope for the city. But by night, he dons the shadows and strikes fear into the hearts of the criminal underworld. First going after the Gotham crime families during his Year One activities, and then later taking on villains who were inspired by his theatrics. So yes, other Batman villains have existed or still exist in this world. Now the next part about Grayson and Jason Todd is rumored to be correct, but again, there's no clarification. Other than, of course, a Robin dying, that's all that everybody really knows, and the rest is just kind of, whatever. So info about his career and which Robin died, again, is a tightly guarded secret by Warner Brothers, and they are really protecting this. So this info was really hard to squeeze out, and it may be a red herring, or in this case, a red robin. So take this with a grain of salt, okay? Life was actually pretty good for Batman until one night while attending a circus in Gotham. There, Bruce witnessed the death of some performers, and the look from the child haunted him to the core. So basically, this boy would later become the first Robin, and as Bruce was caring for the boy, he had the Graysons buried on the Wayne family plot. So as the boy grew, the dynamic duo became not really world-renowned, but Gotham knew who they were. As he got older, the two got into a very heated disagreement and parted ways. This is very similar to how Frank Miller saw Dick Grayson, and of course the modern DC Comics where Robin became Knightwing, and then later Agent 37, which is rumored to appear in the Suicide Squad. But what we need to clarify is Grayson has since vanished. And yeah. So the second Squire of the Bat was killed in action by the Joker. His name is unknown at this time, but most likely it's Jason Todd. Batman hunted down the Joker without any restraint and almost killed him if it was not for somebody. We don't know who it was, but the Joker got really messed up. His face was all beat in, a lot of injuries, he was tortured by Batman. It was really, really freaky. Like, Batman lost it. Because to kill a Robin is to kill Batman's son. So to this day in the Batcave, the boy's suit resides as a grim reminder to never involve another into his war. This is something that he has to do by himself, and he's not really going to work well with others anymore. Sadly, though, this Batman would face other casualties in his life, which actually plagued Batman's career and is part of the reason why people don't like him. One such casualty was Police Commissioner James Gordon, who was slain in the line of duty, and he was a very important father figure to Bruce and Batman's life. Though I don't really know how and why he died or who killed him, sadly he's gone, and it just really bugs me because Jim is such a great character and very important to the Batman mythos, so that Zack Snyder was bold enough to kill Jim, I don't get it. Okay, so yeah, other than a Robin dying at the hands of the Joker and the Graysons resting at the Wayne Cemetery, everything else, we don't know if it's true or not, but I'm leaning more towards that it is, based on how well that it goes with the rest of Bruce's story and how he is today. But on to the stuff that I do know is official and will be released to the public very soon in action figures, descriptions, books, comics, and the like. So, for whatever reasons, later in Batman's career, Bruce had a trailer home built miles away from Wayne Manor. It's near this lake surrounded by a forest and stuff like that. It looks like very old man scary-like, so people will leave him alone. He's in seclusion or whatever. The house is made mostly out of glass, though, but it's surrounded by kind of like this black lead or titanium to give it this kind of like ominous, like, keep away from me. But the entire house is very open, so you can see inside of it, and there's all this modern furniture, and this is where Bruce, does his business from home and isn't afraid to embrace the light, so to speak. Or at least that's the guise he's giving out. But again, I don't know. However, this glass house is also an entrance into the Batcave through an elevator that's located somewhere in the rear of the home. This Batcave is one of many caves that Bruce discovered as a child, though not the one he fell in near the Wayne Manor where his, dad came to rescue him, similar to Batman Begins. Still, this cave is decked out with necessary gear for Batman to wage his unending war, and it has a lot of cool stuff in it. The Batwing actually rises out of the lake near his home, and the Batmobile has 2 access points. One into Gotham subway tunnels, and the other is kind of an homage to the 60s Batman series, where it comes out near a road, out of a cave wall, leading to, of course, Gotham highways and things like that. For the most part, this ranch home is pretty much hidden away from the world, and Bruce is left alone, except when he goes into the city, and then it's kind of a big deal. What's interesting about the house is it's probably not lead-lined. At least, not yet. Back to the Batcave, though. Similar to the Dark Knight Rises, the main base and all the computer gear is located in the middle of the cave, like on this kind of like rising panel. The cave walls also have water dripping off the sides due to, it being built underneath the lake. The Batmobile sits in a rotating panel also near the middle of the platform. This Batcave has a sick bay, armory, crime lab, garage, training room, and a trophies room, along with other gear for Batman. One key difference to the Batman mythos is Alfred actually helped build the Batcave in secret along with trained Batman, thanks to his, 00 British intelligence-ness. No mention of Lucius Fox at this time, and I've really been digging trying to find if Lucius Fox existed or does exist in this universe. Nothing at all. No actors tied to him, no rumors, no nothing. Maybe he'll appear in flashbacks or later Batman films, or he doesn't exist at all yet, which would bug me. The Batcave, however, was built over time by just Alfred and Bruce Wayne, and no one else helped. No contractors, no secret organizations, no nothing. Just Bruce and Alfred tinkering with computers and gadgets and stuff in the cave, which would make Bruce Wayne incredibly intelligent and resourceful in this universe, and that aspect I really, really do like. In the field, certain equipment did not work out very well, and failed batsuits and equipment adorn the walls as reminders of failed projects. These failed projects will be combined into Batman's power armor, but more on that later. This Batman basically came to an existence because of trial and error. He isn't perfect, he's human. And that is something that Affleck is going to portray a lot in the solo Batman films or in the other hero films where he cameos or whatever. The most powerful piece of gear in Batman's arsenal, though, as always, is the Batcomputer. The computer is hacked into every police, medical, and military signal in the world, should Batman need access to it. He's watching politicians, he's watching everybody, he's probably even tracking your IP address. This guy is crazy scary. The computers also control the Batwing and the Batmobile, along with communicate with Batman in the field, similar to the Arkham games, which everybody loves. Alfred also monitors Bruce's nightly activities and provides useful info for the Dark Knight and unnecessary commentary, which Batman finds very annoying. So this Alfred is going to joke, he is going to mess with Batman, and it's going to be a fun ride. Now, the Bat Garage, as I'm calling it, is located in the lowest level of the Batcave. No mechanic is necessary, though, because the computer monitors the vehicles after they are docked into the garage, scans them, and then updates them and repairs them as needed using, like, I don't know, sci-fi-ness. I don't get it. It's all automated. In the comics, though, both Batman, Alfred, and the Robins would work on the cars and planes themselves and see that as a male bonding thing. Plus, you know, it's good to know how that stuff works should it break down. This Batman, for whatever reason, does everything automated, and it frees up more time for Bruce Wayne to be Bruce Wayne. So I don't really like that there's a lack of dual, you know, identity stuff, because I think that's an important aspect to the modern Batman, having the Bat be the real person and Bruce Wayne the disguise. And I really like that Nolan, you know, took advantage of that, so I don't know where Snyder's going with that or what Affleck is doing, but it kind of reminds me of the Keaton Batman, that, you know, Batman was his job and Bruce Wayne is who he was. So that might be where Affleck is going with this, and it's a nice Keaton nod, but I'm not really on board with that because that's not the Batman that I've been familiar with. It's going to take some time. This Batman will break character and act more human. We've seen in screenshots that he does smile, he does joke a little bit, and he will, you know, have humanity leak out. He's not going to be scary all the time, but except, you know, when he needs to. Now let's talk about the Batmobile, because this is pretty impressive, okay? This is the biggest Batmobile ever. It is 22 feet long and 11 feet wide. Think of it like a tank that ate a limo. This car size is meant to terrify you and look like a giant bat on wheels. The car is covered in thick armor. It is resistant to fire and ice, as well as have bulletproof tires that refill. It is able to deflect even armor-piercing military rounds, and it looks like so freaky. Due to the clunkiness of the car, though, hydraulics was added to the sides of the vehicle to make it easier to drive and maneuver should Batman need to. So, all you need to know is it drives like a dream, but looks the complete opposite. Similar to the Keaton car, this Batmobile can transform. It has various armaments and is very, very sleek and sexy. Aside from missiles and other gadgets, it can be controlled by Batman's voice alone or the Batcomputer. So like the Grayson Mobile in the comics, the Grant Morrison one, it fires non-lethal rounds or rubber bullets, and it has the weapons visible at all time on the car to intimidate the crap out of people. Other things that the car has inside of it are tracking devices, oil slicks, the classic grappling hook, smoke bombs, and other things that make up the Batmobile's vast arsenal. One of the really cool gadgets that I like that I read about is an EMP pulse, which also intercepts enemy rockets and harmful weapons that could destroy the Batmobile and detonates them before they get within 10 feet of it. It also has a sonar-like weapon that can disorient enemies and mess with people's computers. So again, it's the very Bat motif of this Batman that I really like. This Batmobile also has thermal equipment, so Batman can see in the front, back, and side of the vehicle, so if he wants to, he can speed through Gotham stealthily and surprise people without ever using his headlights. So think of it like what you saw in the Nolan film, except much, much scarier. The car also runs super silent if he hits a switch, almost like a whisper, so just like when he's in combat, and he uses his, sneaky stealth stuff, he can do it in the car. So pretty much, Affleck Batman is the personification of the Arkham and comic Batman you've been waiting for. Though unknown if all these gadgets will be seen in Dawn of Justice or not, they are confirmed to appear in the comics that are based on this new property, in books, along with potential movie spin-offs. So Batman is prepared for any street thug or rogue that he tangles with in Gotham, and we will see this stuff eventually. But again, unknown what we're going to see in Dawn of Justice, other than, of course, the Batwing and Batmobile doing some stuff. Alfred is also very careful with Bruce and has installed a scanning system without his knowledge into the Batmobile itself, which can detect injuries. And the Batmobile can then be put into autopilot and, void Batman's authorization and drive him to sickbay, where, of course, Alfred, who's an excellent field medic and surgeon, will help Batman survive whatever injury he sustained in combat. And when I heard that, I was like, no way. Finally, the Batman I've waited for my entire life, and Alfred exists in the movies. He's a wisecracking old man who cares about Batman and Robin, and isn't afraid to, go against their wishes and make them come back to the cave, through an automated system. That is just hilarious. I can see, Batman gets, really beaten up by Clayface or something like that, and he wants to go on patrol, and he's got several broken ribs, and Alfred is just authorized code, whatever, and the Batmobile just, kidnaps Batman and brings him back to sickbay. And just the interaction between those two, I can just see it in my head. It would be hilarious. So that type of idea is already in Zack Snyder's universe. So for me, he gets it. He gets the characters, he gets the world, and I will forgive him for what he did to Jim Gordon. He has my attention and respect so far. So speaking of the Batwing, just like in the comics and animated series, it can be controlled remotely, so Batman doesn't even need to be piloting it. So this could be an important plot device for later films, Like the Batwing blows up, people think Batman has died fighting Doomsday or Darkseid or whoever, and then bam, he just shows up out of nowhere and spooks like Green Lantern or the Flash or somebody. And that could, for a time, fool people into thinking he has superpowers. Or maybe it will never be used at all. Still, it's a thing, and it's cool, So back to more of the stuff. The Bat computer activates a video game-like joystick that controls the plane, which we saw in the final Batman vs. Superman trailer, which was awesome, by the way. I wanted to dive into that a lot, but when I found out all this information, I was like, you know what, I'm just going to do an Arkham video and talk about all this stuff instead. So, as we saw in the trailer, Alfred drops off Batman into the warehouse. He scanned the area for where the bad guys were and, safely let Batman get off. And then he controlled the Batwing, had its armaments, all kinds of stuff. And he was doing that from the safety of his lounge chair. That, to me, is pretty awesome. But back to the Batcave. Other armaments that Batman has in his possession, pretty much any gadget you can think of or you've seen to some capacity. Grapple guns, electric gauntlets, water gear, armored suits, smoke bombs, laser torches, various batarangs, hacking devices, voice modifiers, and so much more. Snyder must really, really like and play the Arkham games, because when you see this film and you see the armory, your jaw is going to drop. Now, the Batsuit, aside from the Robin suit, which is displayed in a reminder of Batman's failure, In order to keep himself protected and his identity secret, the suit is locked behind a vault that has only 2 ways to get it: a fingerprint identification and an eye scan. If none of those work, then some type of countermeasure is going to attack the person trying to get the bat suit, which is so Batman. Also, it won't open. All right, I know what you guys are waiting for. The bat suit itself. What is it like? So in the comics, it's made of a lightweight, bulletproof fabric, and they did that for the movie as well. This suit can stop, like, gunfire to some extent and break a knife against its, like, chest. Although anything but a direct point-blank shot, like Lucius Fox said, is going to cause trouble for, the person in the suit. Around the bat symbol, it's reinforced where the armor is strongest, and Batman will actually taunt enemies to shoot him there, hence why there's so many scuff marks, bullet encasings or whatever on his emblem, because that's where enemies attack him the most. The weak points of the suit are, of course, where the limbs connect to the different body armor. So just like what Jason Todd said on Arkham Knight. The cape is made of a fireproof and bulletproof material, so Batman, is protected just like in the 90s comics. The suit has the ability to monitor Batman's vitals too, like in Batman Beyond. And since it is so lightweight, like the final trailer, we see how very agile Batman can move, which allows Batman to fight in free-flow combat without too many restrictions. And I love that. And I thought Christian Bale's Batman was cool when he was fighting, but that opening scene in that trailer, oh my gosh, I was just dying. The cowl is also very, very cool and different than the comics. Now, the only similarities the cowl has to the comics is the special night vision lenses that come down with a press of a button and his direct line to Oracle or Alfred in the Batcave. But for this movie, and like the Arkham games, it can scan enemies for weaknesses and exploit past injuries of said criminals when they fought Batman. So this Batman does not play around and pull punches. If you have a broken rib, or you have like a hurt toe or whatever, and he finds it with his scanner, guess where you're getting punched or kicked? Ouch! This cowl is also reinforced with bulletproof and fireproof materials, along with a titanium alloy to the back of the head to prevent it from being chopped off at the neck, and also extra protection at the forehead. Now, the only thing I don't like about this cowl is it has a voice modifier inside of it to disguise his voice. Personally, I always like how Batman was able to just use a different voice and disguise Batman and Bruce Wayne's voice, showing his ventriloquism and other things like that. But for this movie, they opted to use a voice modifier. So, yeah. The voice modifier is built into 2 distinct locations inside the cowl. One is near the nose, and the other is in the throat. So, yeah, Bruce Wayne and Batman sound very, very different. And he sounds wicked scary. Some people really like that, but I don't like the fact that it's a machine doing the voice. Now, Batman's weapons are all non-lethal, so those of you saying that Batman kills in this film, he doesn't do it intentionally. It just happens because of explosions and things like that. The smoke pellets, explosive capsules, stun grenades, and sleeping darts are all non-lethal. His grapple guns are very different in this Batman universe, though. They have wooden handles on them, which were taken from guns. So as a hobby, he likes to dismantle guns. I don't know why, he just does it. They're also not custom made by some company. Him and Alfred put them together. And they never really needed to be upgraded at all in this universe, so he's using his old grapple guns from, like, when he was fighting mob bosses. Which is kind of funny, and Alfred will probably mention something like that in the movie. Batman uses them like in the Arkham games, though. He scales buildings, creates zip lines, walks on top of them, and pretty much everything you've seen in the comics, that's what these zip lines can do. The cable is also said to hold more than 300 pounds. So carrying a woman who says she's 108 pounds shouldn't break the line, or cause you to get stuck zipping up it. Batarangs have several uses too, like cutting, explosions, disarming bad guys, and much, much more. But they have a more sinister purpose in the Snyder films, and that's the bat branding. So unlike the comics, Batman brands enemies using batarangs and leaves the batarangs behind at the scene of the crime, so the corrupt police know he's still around. According to sources, Batman and the police aren't really chummy. Not after what happened to Jim. As to why Batman doesn't like Superman, the battle in Metropolis is mostly why he doesn't like him due to the alien invasion. Bruce is very paranoid and kinda crazy in his old age. He was in Metropolis for business, going to one of the Wayne buildings during the battle between Zod and Superman, and Bruce tried his best to help the people afterwards, but couldn't as much as Lex. Also, over the past 2 years, Superman has become kind of his hobby. Bruce is actually very annoyed at Superman's refusal to answer for his actions during the battle to the US government and the world's governments, which resulted in the death of thousands of people in Metropolis. They actually have kind of like this Superman statue built at Ground Zero, where the, I forget what it's called, but that one Kryptonian ship exploded. So they have a Superman memorial there, and that's the memorial that you'll see that says False God later. But the people of Metropolis built that in order to honor Superman for saving them. But in reality, kinda did, but a lot of people in Metropolis died. And because of what happened to Metropolis, Lex Luthor was able to gain power. One of the key reasons that the filmmaker is going to show why Bruce is very annoyed at Superman is because Clark refuses to answer for his actions during the battle, which resulted in the death of thousands. He doesn't really respond to the US government. He tells them he's going to do his own thing and he's here to help, and he tries to make amends by helping the world. But at the same time, the world is like, okay, this guy's a ticking time bomb. What happens if he, goes power crazy? And those could be the visions that Batman sees about the world, being destroyed by Superman's regime, which is an ode to the Injustice games, or it could just be Batman's paranoia. We don't know. Maybe it could be an Earth 2 scenario. I don't know. I don't know where DC's going with this. All we know is that Batman has been prepping to fight and destroy Superman, and he actually believes he has to kill Superman, which Alfred is totally against. So in order to help the world if Earth was ever invaded again, Batman created a heavy power suit that is lead-lined and uses an internal power source from a meteorite that fell to the Earth 20-some years ago. Gee, I wonder what that power source is. This power source is able to make the lead suit very flexible and very strong. Rumor has it Lex Luthor is also studying the properties of this rock for other conventional means, supposedly. But we probably know he's going to construct a power suit and fight Superman at some point when he loses all his hair. Because poor Lex always ends up losing his hair. So based on the threat Superman poses, Batman plans on fighting him for the good of humanity. Superman, seeing Batman as a bad guy, answers his summons on the old GCPD building when Bruce uses the bat signal to alert Superman to his location, and then stands poised for battle. Who will win during the battle between the Dark Knight and the Man of Steel? Man versus God? The world is eagerly watching, as is another alien invader, or so rumors say. After this battle, though, the world will be changed forever. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is all I know. And now you know it. What do you think of the Batman now? After the movie is released and more prequel comics, I will look at this Batman again because we will get more tidbits into his past, which is something Ben Affleck really wants to uncover. Like, what was Batman like before the Justice League and things like that? What happened to the previous Robin? What happened to Jim Gordon? What happened to other Batman allies? So many things are possible now. But anyway, just so you know, tomorrow is my birthday, so I'm taking the day off mostly, and I will be facing 33 head-on. Thanks for watching another Arkham Wednesday. Don't forget to share this video with your friends, discuss among yourselves, just be civil, and until we meet again, God bless, and happy gaming. Bye-bye.